of my memories of growing up in Edinburgh as a teenager was having my bedroom in the attic and hearing the swifts throughout the whole summer. And it's such an evocative sound for me. And whenever I hear it, I'm always sort of transported back to that, being kind of 16, 17, and just these long kind of summers in Edinburgh that you get where it doesn't really get dark, And so having moved back to Edinburgh last year after almost 30 years, and I was really looking forward to this summer for the swifts, and they've been largely absent. So that's a loss that's not just to do with the actual, the actual animal, but all the emotions and memories that I have that's associated with it. Really have we don't really have social norms in this country for talking about our emotions, about loss of nature. So we can see discussions happening below the line in, on the Guardian comments online. You can see stuff on Twitter, but we don't actually have a kind of public. There aren't any structures really for facilitating that conversation.
Is that a structural thing? Literally, I mean, is that because there isn't a platform for it, or is it actually a cultural thing?
Yeah, I think it's both, definitely. Well, the two are totally linked. Yeah. The reason that we don't have a structure for it is because culturally it's been diminished in importance. So I worked in the IPCC for 18 months, and you'll see very little expression of emotion. Well, none actually in IPCC reports. Because of this cultural pressure to just present the hard facts, and yet at the same time in the IPCC, in the AR5 the fifth assessment report, it talks about the importance of emotion in communication and in decision making. So we know this, and yet the report is not written in a way to actually convey any emotion. So we've got this whole kind of disconnect going on in the way that we experience the world, and then the way that we feel we have to communicate. And things which could be happening already is simply about having conversations around how people feel about what's happening to the wildlife in this country, and I'm sure there would be a kind of outpouring of expression around that, because we actually don't have a forum for it. And it's clear, like you see what happened with when Theresa May tried to reintroduce the whole fox hunting ban, and the reactions that there were against that. So people feel, or what's going on with the badger culls, or so people feel things, and they might not be talking about it with people because they don't know how other people will react, and they might feel like they don't want to be ridiculed and laughed at for having emotions about these things. But I'm pretty certain it's there, and it's a piece of research I'd love to do, actually. I mean, it'd be great to do it. Some developments in terms of climate change, and I don't know if something similar applies or not, but the idea of having kind of climate conversations, and it's something actually that Scottish Government supports, which is about facilitating, conversations between people about climate change, including their feelings around it. So, particularly with regards to urgency of the problem and immediacy, that this affects Scotland now, sort of thing. And something similar around loss of wildlife, I think, would be totally appropriate.